Biden has an 8-point lead over the president in the battleground states of Michigan and Pennsylvania and a 4-point lead in Florida. Among Pennsylvania voters, Biden leads President Trump 50 to 42% in a new Fox News poll. That includes up 7 points among Pennsylvania's baby boomers. In Michigan, Biden is up 8 points overall against Trump, 49 to 41, including up by 18 points among baby boomers in that state. And in a new Quinnipiac poll of Florida voters, Biden leads President Trump 46 to 42%, and that includes a 10-point lead over Trump with voters 65 and older. And Casey Hunt, you know, a lot of voters who are looking at this situation seriously, which is most at this point, they can see there's clarity with Biden. They may not agree with everything he's saying. A lot of the Biden ads say that. You may not agree with everything he says, but you know where he stands. And you know he's a good man. And you can point to the fact that early on, Biden made a clear and stark warning about this in a piece in USA Today. He's got a real track record as it pertains to this pandemic.
He actually did that in January. At the end of January, Casey, he said things are going to get worse. This is, you had the president 3 weeks later saying this is going to magically go away. It's a hoax. The press is hyping it up. Obviously, the president may think he can kill people on Fifth Avenue and his supporters won't care. They do care, though, if he does things that threaten their lives and the lives of their loved ones.
Joe, we have talked about that so many times. The president seemed basically bulletproof with the people that were supporting him the most. But this crisis is something that has drawn literally every American into the political debate. Even those who were sick of it, the good chunk of the middle of the country who had tuned it all out, they are engaged. They are watching every single day. And what do we all need more than anything right now? We need a competent, functional government. That's at the federal level, that's at the state level, that's at the local level. Everybody needs the government to function. What is the argument that Joe Biden has been making all the way along? He has been saying, I will return to a more normal, more functional time. That has been the message he has been sending to voters this entire time in a very consistent way. And before this crisis, when you had people on the left and on the right as the most engaged groups in this country, that message, maybe it didn't excite the left. Maybe there were progressives who thought that that was milquetoast and bland. But when the entire country starts to become engaged in this conversation and literally has their own lives at stake in the competence of our government. And I think we can, we have walked through all the ways in which our government has failed us over the course of the last 4 or so months that this has been going on. Suddenly, Joe Biden starts to look a lot better. And those poll numbers are bearing that out.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at the quotes. You match up what Joe Biden and his people were saying with what Donald Trump was saying throughout February.
Not steady.
Into March. Well, no, forget the steady, not steady, like him, don't like him. How about right and wrong?
There's that, too.
Like Joe Biden was right. At the end of January, he said the president needs to start listening to his doctors and his scientists. At the end of January, he said this is going to get worse before it gets better. Donald Trump spent all of February saying this was magically going to go away in April.
Stop right there. More than 45,000 people have died.
I know.
More than 45,000 people.
The president said
that we know of.
And again, the president time and again said it's one person, it's 11 people, it's 15 people, soon it'll be down to zero. But here's the thing, Jonathan O'Meara. So the president found out, he saw the study that said up to 2.2 million people would die if we just relied on herd immunity, and got serious, supposedly. Got serious. But then he darted back. And what I don't understand is this has been obvious. Like my professor in torts, Professor Pearson at the University of Florida, always said, you should have seen that coming, Joe, like a freight train out of the mist. Donald Trump should have seen these. Look at these numbers in the swing states. He won because older white dudes broke his way in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Wisconsin. But he's losing now, of course, in Pennsylvania by 8 points. He's losing in Michigan, and he's losing, badly in Michigan by 8 points. And you look at the senior breakdown, he's losing in Florida. You look at the senior breakdown. By the way, who could have ever guessed there were senior citizens in Florida? Who ever saw that coming? Like, Jonathan, I know I asked you this yesterday on Instagram Live. I've asked you this on the show again. Please help me understand. Why doesn't Donald Trump understand this most basic political reality?
Because, Joe, he always asserts his own version of reality. He did it as a private citizen. He did it as a candidate. He's done it as a president. He believes through sheer force of will he can change the narrative, and that he believes that his voters, his loyal base, will stay with him. And we're seeing with this crisis for the first time, that's starting to slip away. And his campaign is very nervous. We have talked about this, about baby boomers, about older Americans defecting from the president, particularly in those key battleground states. Joe Biden is polling better among older Americans than Hillary Clinton did 4 years ago. There is real concern. The Trump campaign people I've talked to are not ready to quite write off Michigan, but have already put Michigan in a category going to be very difficult for him to keep this time around, particularly in the wake of this feud with the governor there. And if he loses Michigan, well, he's got to hold one of Pennsylvania or Wisconsin, but he'd have to hold both if Joe Biden is able to puck away Arizona, another state with a lot of older Americans where Biden is trending well. And you said it, of course, Florida is the ballgame for the president. If he loses Florida, he virtually has no path to victory.
All right, up next, how to avoid a pandemic Patriot Act. David Ignatius joins us with his new must-read column in the Washington Post. Plus, you might have heard us say it a few hundred times. Without more tests, America cannot reopen. And to make matters worse, Dr. Zeke Emanuel says we are testing the wrong people. Great. He joins us next on Morning Joe. We're back in 2 minutes.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.